Follow News 1226 on Twitter to keep informed with the latest happening near you.
From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Good evening. The pandemic put Augusta's other favorite pastime on pause for 20 long months, but baseball is finally back. From the looks of opening day, it looks like a lot of fans missed the Augusta Green Jackets as well. The team playing only one season in this brand new state-of-the-art stadium in North Augusta before COVID shut the country down.
And the Augusta Green Jackets lost millions of dollars in revenue from that. Now they're facing another financial challenge. iTeam's Liz Owens is live from SRP Park for us. And Liz, you say the team could lose millions more in renovations to a brand new stadium.
That's right. It certainly feels like business is back to normal when you take a look around SRP Park. Baseball is back, like you said, but they're still getting hit with financial curveballs. That's because there's new minor league stadium requirements. And in order for the team to keep the brand new franchise, the Braves, they must make brand new changes to this brand new stadium. An opening day like never before.
It's a sign. It's a sign that we're back.
Fans flocking back to SRP Park almost like it's 2019.
Not just us back, but that our city's back, that our county's back.
But Jeff Eisman, president of the Green Jackets, came back to the diamond with a brand new post-pandemic problem. Major League Baseball changed stadium standards for minor league teams.
It could range a couple $1 million of improvements that need to be made to facilitate our relationship with the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball.
In order to keep the Braves franchise, SRP Park must add a female locker room, additional storage space, new batting cages.
They want it enclosed and climate controlled and all those things.
Air conditioned.
Yeah.
And a new lighting system. The I-Team found under the new guidelines, the barely used lights are now too low and need to be moved up.
Improvements on a brand new stadium.
Improvements on a brand new stadium, correct. That were not anticipated when we were in design.
SRP Park still has that new stadium smell. The Green Jackets moved across the river to their new home in North Augusta in April of 2018. They played one full season before the pandemic shut games down.
How much revenue did you guys lose during the pandemic?
Millions of dollars.
And now you're going to have to spend millions of dollars in order to keep the franchise.
Revenue losses, new stadium requirements, and then this. The I-Team obtained this letter from the city attorney of North Augusta sent to Jeff Eisman 2 weeks before opening day. After attending the North Augusta Midland Valley High School game at SRP Park, city attorney Kelly Zier wrote, the areas down foul line in left field and right field pose substantial danger, particularly to persons not paying attention to the ball game being played. As an attorney, I'm obviously very concerned about the liability issue related to safety issues that can be addressed, but are not.
And here we are, we're open, we've played like 3 baseball games, all amateur baseball games, and you're like, well, here, add a couple $100,000 netting issue to your equation.
The new baseball stadium requirements do not include upgrades to the netting, which is also brand new at SRP Park.
We've not had any serious injuries or risks that are outside the norms of anybody attending a baseball game. What is it that you're proposing that we do? And he was like, well, what's your time frame for, extending this all the way out?
The city attorney goes on to write, I request that Green Jackets address this concern. I'm writing this letter to you as the city attorney for the city of North Augusta. However, I am not writing based on any direction or instruction from the mayor or council.
I got the impression that this was not a letter that the city had condoned or authorized, that this was more a concerned citizen that was writing it on the city stationery.
We reached out to the city attorney. Kelly Zier responded in this letter to the I-Team. Obviously, the letter as forwarded was not intended for public dissemination. I deem this letter to not only be absolutely within my legal authority, but my responsibility as city attorney pursuant to the Code of Laws, which states as follows, the city attorney shall enforce all laws and act to protect the interest of the city. The attorney's concern might be valid.
This fly ball comes over the restaurant and lands right here.
This past Saturday, I witnessed not just one,
And there's another one.
2 balls land outside of the stadium during a game. There are signs warning fans, please be aware of flying objects leaving the playing field inside the stadium, but not outside of SRP Park. We also found this written under ticket terms and conditions on the Green Jackets website. Ticket holders assumes all risks associated with being a spectator before, after, and during the baseball game. The baseball rule protects teams from foul ball lawsuits as long as the team offers some protected seating. The rule is currently being challenged in the Illinois Appeals Court.
We would never shirk a safety issue in the ballpark. That's clearly not the case.
Netting issues have been a case in major leagues. An NBC News investigation found at least 808 reports of injuries to fans from baseballs from 2012 to 2019. A year before the pandemic shut down baseball around the country, a 2-year-old girl was struck by a foul ball at an Astros game, which caused permanent brain injury. The team found some teams extended their netting voluntarily, but is not a requirement at this time. Here at home, we did not find any reports of local fans injured by foul balls. Another complicating factor, SRP Park is a public-private partnership. The city of North Augusta owns the stadium. Eisman is responsible for everything inside the stadium, leaving him on the hook for all these financial changes at an already strapped cash time. For now, Eisman tells me he does not plan on expanding the current netting system unless Major League Baseball makes it a new stadium requirement. For now, his focus is on getting back to normal.
I need it. My soul needs it.
And normal in Augusta is baseball.
And I imagine most of the people in the community need it too.
So don't expect to see any renovations anytime soon. They've got a couple years to complete everything. They're going to start working on it in the off season a little bit every year. There's also no word on whether or not Major League Baseball plans to expand the netting for minor league teams. So you have plenty of time to collect or dodge baseballs. I guess it's all in how you look at it for now.
Interesting look at SRP Park and some of the problems. You know, you think about it inside the stadium, but not out there on the street.
Yeah,
But there
we're
they
not
are.
aware, but it's something that a lot of major league facilities deal with too.
Sure, a heads-up zone. You gotta be careful out there. Liz, thanks so much. You know, it's not just changes at the ballpark that we can expect. There's development on the horizon for that whole area, and we're back live from Riverside Village for that story in about 5 minutes. But it's an incredible piece of development over that way. Glad to see baseball back in the
Love
stadium.
it. We
for
saw
sure.
the game Sunday on Mother's Day, so it feels like everything's getting back to
It's just
normal.
good to sit outside and take it all in. Let's head over to weather now. And first alert, Chief Meteorologist Riley.
As well. We'll keep that chance for a few showers through around sunset, but much drier after midnight. We'll take a look at a big temperature drop by the middle of the week in just a little bit.
Thanks very much, Riley. A judge has ordered the city of Augusta to turn over documents surrounding the finalists for Augusta's next fire chief. In the past hour, we're getting a closer first-hand look at what exactly that says as we go through those documents. And Laura Warren is standing by to bring us up to speed with what she's found.
Yeah, I've combed through these as quickly as I could, Richard, but in them scores, the other 3 candidates scored 17, 12, and 8 for their qualifications pre-interview. The sole finalist, Antonio Burden, had a pre-interview score of 10. So, in the running, along with Burden, who was a deputy chief up in DeKalb County, which we told you, was a deputy chief from Newport News, Virginia, Anthony Jackson, a deputy chief from Philadelphia, Carl Wayne Randolph Sr., and Sterling Jones, who was a former deputy chief of the Augusta Fire Department who served here from 2012 to 2017. He's currently serving as the interim fire chief over in South Fulton. He scored the highest pre-interview with a 17 for his qualifications for the job. So now the city has to wait 14 days, time for the community to look over these candidates, voice any concerns or praise they may have to commissioners before they take a vote. And as it stands right now, they will be voting yes or no to hire Antonio Burden, who is currently the sole finalist.
Laura, thanks very much. We're continuing to follow the story of an Augusta man now walking free after spending nearly 2 years in prison for a crime he says he has proof he did not commit. We first brought you Maurice Franklin's story last week. He was arrested in 2019, facing more than 51 charges and 1,000 years in prison for a drive-by shooting he says he was nowhere near at the time. Now, free from jail, Franklin says he wants people to know his story is more common than you might think. News 12's Sydney Heiberger takes a closer look at just how often this kind of thing happens.
Right, Richard. Maurice Franklin feels lucky his charges were dropped before he was wrongly convicted, because in the last 30 years, the National Registry of Exoneration shows more than 2,700 people were exonerated for crimes they did not commit. That adds up to nearly 25,000 years of life lost. And when you compare that to how long the average person lives, that's about 320 lifetimes.
You can miss a lot in 604 days.
I missed 2 birthdays. I missed 2 Easters, 2 Christmases, me and my wife's anniversary.
A tragic story, but not as uncommon as one might hope.
I had a support system that was led by my wife that really had my back, and they really made sure my story got out. But there are plenty of people who are sitting in a cell for something they did not do.
Franklin's attorney, Robert Homler, says this isn't the first case he's had where a defendant sat in jail for more than a year with a weak case against them.
It makes it difficult to tell people to have faith in the system.
The Innocence Project is a nonprofit organization that helps use DNA evidence to exonerate the wrongly convicted. In their 232 cases alone, 97 violent crimes were committed by real criminals, while an innocent person sat behind bars in their place.
I mean, when I'm, having a beer with friends or having dinner with my wife or watching my kids grow up, it's, in the back of my mind, Maurice Franklin's not here and not doing this stuff.
Maurice says he's one of the lucky ones.
I gotta try my best to get to know my youngest son and my youngest daughter, because she was 1 when I left. She was his age when I left.
He has the opportunity to make up for lost time.
Former District Attorney Natalie Payne still stands by her decision to charge Maurice, saying she believes he was wrongly set free. Current District Attorney Jared Williams says he dropped the charges because he didn't have a strong enough case to convict.
Cindy, thank you. Maurice's wife is one of the main people fighting for his release, and she says it inspired her to try to go to law school to help other people in Maurice's kind of situation. Well, the official cause of death is in tonight for those 2 men who died at Clarks Hill Lake a couple of weeks ago. The Lincoln County coroner listing Ian Wilson and E.J. Kirk's official cause of death as drowning, confirming what family and friends and most of us suspected all along. At this point, the men's bodies have been returned to their families. We spoke with both families today, and they say they're in the process of finalizing those funeral plans. Deputies in Columbia County need your help finding this man. He's wanted for questioning after a shooting at an Applebee's in Grovetown. It happened last night around 11 at the Applebee's on Gateway Boulevard, where authorities say a 20-year-old man was shot, then taken to a hospital. We're trying to get more information on his condition. In the meantime, if you know who the person in the picture is, you're asked to call the sheriff's office.
Taking you back out live now for a bird's eye view of Riverside Village, thanks to our Sky 12 drone. Gorgeous afternoon out there. It's been a couple of years since we've seen any growth, though, out here. You might remember last summer when we told you developers owed the city of North Augusta more than $800,000 in back property taxes. That money is now paid off, and plans for new development are in the works.
News 12's Brady Trapman live for us tonight from Riverside Village. And Brady, what kind of new developments are on the table?
Well, Richard, to know that, you have to go back to the original master plan for Riverside Village. And what we found is that this lot you can see over to my right is set for multi-use retail or residential space, which is just another piece of a massive puzzle here at Riverside Village to finally be completed here along the river. The tax notices are gone, and Riverside Village is getting back on schedule.
The more that pops up around here, the more traffic we're going to get, the more business we're going to get. So we love having the construction outside, right outside our door.
Alex Smith with the Swank Company says they opened this new location in November with the future in mind. It didn't look promising for a while, but with baseball back and $2 million in outstanding taxes paid, growth is back.
It's awesome to see this store start to compete with our established stores in Surrey and at Ferrisberry.
Greenstone is a Riverside Village developer. They had to give pieces of land along the river back to North Augusta, but now it's back in their hands.
This community is such an outdoor community.
The master plan shows multi-use space for restaurants and retail, along with office space and homes are what's left to be built. Mayor Britton Williams says he spoke with Greenstone recently, and they told him they want to get the project finished soon. The city of North Augusta sees these taxes as a burden lifted to bring a new day along the river and across the community.
Grew up in Augusta, so being here and seeing all of this is just wild to me.
I spoke with the city administrator and the mayor about these developments and how Greenstone plans to develop this lot here and many others around this area today. They say that they're still all contingent on Greenstone itself to develop them. The city has no say as to when things will be built or what will be built first.
Well, hopefully now that the pandemic is drawing to a close, we can start to see some shovels in the ground out there. Thanks for that, Brady.
Well, it was another warm afternoon. Always first alert weather on your side.
It has been one of the hardest years for farmers, but one organization here at home is helping get them back on track.
Augusta Locally Grown acts like a middleman between farmers and the community to help farmers sell their goods directly to us. News 12's Wrdw shows us how it's keeping a lot of our local growers in business.
Augusta Locally Grown is doing their part to curb the hunger in the area. In this community garden, all of this goes towards their online market to help feed those people. They say their numbers have soared during the pandemic, while they say farmers have struggled to find a place to sell. In a time of uncertainty over the past year, one thing was certain. There was always fresh produce at the fingertips of the community.
For us to be able to come in, whether it's monthly or weekly, to provide this to the community is huge.
Rebecca Von Lunen is the executive director of Augusta Locally Grown. Over the last year, they've seen their largest leap in sales.
For Augusta Locally Grown, we have seen our number of orders quintuple.
All while seeing their most diverse crowd coming through their markets.
We've seen the average number of spending go up at least 20%. During pandemic, it went up 60, 70, sometimes 80% on a given weekend.
That spending is going towards helping local farmers who have seen their toughest year. Augusta Locally Grown helped give farmers a place to sell while grocery stores were cutting down on supply.
We've also seen some farmers where their main day job, so to speak, has been cut down, either eliminated or reduced, so their other income, being their farming, is their main income, and so we're able to support them during this time.
And in this time, Augusta Locally Grown says they've added 12 new farmers to help the increasing demand in our area. In Augusta, Will Rio on your side.
Such a cool program. If you haven't checked it out, go online and take a look. But Augusta Locally Grown says they are ready to move into their new home at the Hub for Community Innovation. That's the new development we've been telling you about. It's coming to the Laney Walker and Harrisburg areas. They say they hope to be in there by April of next year.
Every garden needs a little bit of shower every now and then. Let's have a look outside and check in with First